Welcome to Sell Success, the podcast designed to help you close more sales and get into the top 10% in your industry. I'm your host, Mark Bowser. Why is being in the top 10% so important? Because all the gravy and all the money is found in the top 10%. So, let's get you there. What is that little extra ingredient that can take us from the jaws of defeat and thrust us onto the mountain peak of sales success? Well, in his book, Beware the Naked Man Who Offers You His Shirt, Harvey Mackay tells a wonderful story. In 1988, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish football team, led by coach Lou Holtz, was undefeated. Their next game was against the also undefeated Miami Hurricanes. Now, the game was to be played on the Notre Dame campus in South Bend, Indiana. These two teams were considered the two best football teams in college football that year. It was believed that the national championship would come down to these two teams at the end of the season. Well, the night before the big game, Notre Dame held a pep rally for all pep rallies. It was fantastic. That pep rally had 20,000 people in attendance. They yelled cheers, they sang the school fight song, and really just pumped everyone up on campus. Well, at the very end, Coach Holtz stood to speak. His remarks were very short, and they ended with this. I just want you to do me a very simple favor. You go find Jimmy Johnson, who was the Miami coach at that time, and tell him we are going to beat the dog out of Miami. As you can imagine, the students went crazy. They leapt to their feet, they clapped their hands, and they cheered with everything they had. All except the football team. The team stood there quietly, looking at the ground and shuffling their feet. This had been going on during the entire pep rally, and this behavior didn't go unnoticed by Coach Holtz. Why did Coach Holtz say such a provocative statement that was sure to get Miami all pumped up and put a lot of pressure on the Fighting Irish at the same time? Well, because he knew what his team needed at that very moment. The team needed motivation and a belief in themselves. You see, in the previous 4 head-to-head games between Notre Dame and Miami, the Hurricanes had gotten the better hand, dramatically. In fact, they had dominated over the Irish. In those 4 games, they had a combined score of 133-20. This truth had not been forgotten by the Notre Dame football players. So no wonder they were a little down in the dumps. So, after the pep rally, the team was to meet across campus for what was known as a chalk talk. Back then, coaches didn't have the fancy equipment and smart boards that they have today. They had a blackboard and a piece of chalk. As soon as Coach Holtz and his team met for their chalk talk, Coach picked up a piece of chalk and he wrote on the board, "We're going to beat the dog out of Miami." He then looked at his team and asked, "Why did I say that?" He heard crickets. Nobody responded. So Coach repeated his question, "Why did I say that?" One hand sheepishly went up. Holtz gestured with one hand, and the player said, because we got a better kicking game." Holtz then went to the board, and he wrote, "Better kicking game." Coach then asked, "Is that it?" Finally, another player shyly raised his hand. That player said, "Our offensive line gets off quicker than theirs." Holt wrote that on the board too and asked, "Anything else?" Another player said with more confidence now, "Pass defense." This went on for a little while, Coach Holtz writing each of the phrases that the players said on the board, which with each phrase, the confidence began to grow in the room. Pretty soon, the team began to believe in themselves. Coach Holtz paused and looked at his team. He then raised his voice and he asked, "Who's going to get an interception for Notre Dame tomorrow? Who's going to get a sack for Notre Dame tomorrow? Who's going to strip the ball and recover it for Notre Dame?" After each question, a number of hands went up. And so what was the result of all this motivation? The next day, Notre Dame won the game, 31-30. Motivation is that little extra that can take you from the valley of defeat to the mountain peak of success. And you know what? Later that season, Notre Dame won the national championship. So don't tell me you can't close more sales. Don't tell me you can't present to more prospects. Don't tell me you can't get in the top 10% of sales producers in your industry. Grab that little extra motivation and grab it every day. You can go without a meal, but don't ever go without motivation. If you need some printing done, if you're a small to medium-sized business, then look no further than the UPS store that my cousin and I own. Now, we're located in Indiana, but it doesn't matter where you're located. We can actually print for you. So, let us know. Email us at store5100@theupsstore.com. Store5100@theupsstore.com. We can print it for you and ship it right out to you. Also, if you're a small to medium-sized business owner or you know one, ask them this question. If you could show them a way that they could increase their sales by 20 to 40% in the next 12 months and not increase their workload, would it be valuable to them? Of course it would. You see, many small to medium-sized businesses, your local dentist, your local chiropractor, your local restaurant owner, they did not get into business because of sales and marketing. They don't necessarily even understand that like you and I do. So if you know one of these folks, send them to me. You see, I've partnered up with Nina Hirschberger, who's a marketing expert, and we combined her marketing expertise and my sales expertise, and we can run the sales and marketing for a company. And the best part is, besides a small setup fee, it doesn't cost them anything. We get paid when they get paid. You see, when we increase their sales, what it does is we get a commission on those increased sales. That's it. So have them give us a call, or better yet, have them just send me an email at info@markbowser.com, or if they want to actually contact me on the website, they can just go to markbowser.com. That's MarkBowser.com. Until next time, make it a great selling day. God bless.